Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Hockey Jersey Addicts. It's your host, Dan, aka Van Can Fan 75. And today I am joined by Nicole Guagliardo. And Nicole is a professional hockey player in the NWHL for the Connecticut Whale, whose season has been put on hold, but is getting back underway here shortly in time to finish their season and chase the Isobel Cup. And the Connecticut Whale are in the semifinals. So I'm sure Nicole's itching to get back on the ice and is pretty excited. And we're on the show with her today to just talk about women's hockey, getting it back onto the stage, because these games are going to be broadcast on NBCSN near the end of March. And we just wanted to talk about women's hockey, talk to Nicole about what it's like to be a hockey player in the semi-new NWHL. It's only a couple of years old. So Nicole, thanks so much for being on the show today. Why don't you say hi to all of our listeners out there?
Hello, hi. Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I mean, thanks for making time. I know you guys have kind of been on pause for a bit. So what have you been doing with your life, trying to stay fit and active before you hit the ice March 26th?
Well, thankfully we got some practices going. As soon as we found out our season was going to continue, we were able to get ice again and get back into the gym. So I've been doing that for the past couple weeks now. So I'm finally starting to get back into shape. Because for that month there, we were off for we didn't know that they were going to continue our season. So like I had a trip planned to Florida with my friends, and so I just got back from Florida. I was just not in shape to be playing hockey anytime soon. So I'm glad we had a month to get back in shape. It's been fun. It's been a grind, but it's been good.
Yeah, and I mean, what's it like going through, signing with the Whale in the summer and getting ready and excited to, make your pro debut, and you play two games and then it stops. Like, it must be a roller coaster. Take us through that.
Oh, it's definitely been a roller coaster for sure, and it's unfortunate that COVID's had to like shut down and ruin like two of my seasons now because it happened last year. My
Mm.
senior year, we were on the road to a Final Eight and playoffs, and it got shut down. So it's unfortunate that COVID's. I would have never thought it would still be a thing come now, but here it is. It's still a thing. But it's definitely been a roller coaster. This whole year's just been different. Like going into it, I was obviously like super excited in the summer, like trained really hard for this and thought for sure we were going to have a normal season. And I thought COVID would be gone by now. And of course that didn't happen. And so when I found out our season was just going to be like a 2 week like bubble season, that like was a huge curveball.
Yeah.
Um, it was just like we were just practicing like all the time, like every week, and no games on the weekend. It was just weird. And then to come into this bubble, um, and then only play two games and it got shut down it's unfortunate. But I'm glad that they're able to figure out a way to finish the tournament, and I'm really excited to go to Boston and play on NBC.
Yeah, man. I was crushed when I found out that the season got canceled because of just what COVID did to the teams, because I was just so excited to finally see. I mean, women's hockey's been on TV before in the Olympics, and there's been other ways to watch women's hockey on television for sure, but to get it onto a major network here in the States like NBCSN was going to do a lot. I remember reading some quotes from the NWHL's president about just the impact even one game can have on growing the sport. And so to hear that the season's back on just filled me with so much excitement, just because of the impact it's going to be making. Um, what do you think it's going to be like getting back? Do you agree with me and my excitement that this is a positive thing and it's really moving women's hockey in the right direction?
Oh, I 100% agree. I'm so glad that they were able to figure out a way to, continue the season and still be able to get the game on NBC
Mm.
because like we were going to be the first professional team aired on like live national TV. That's never been a thing. Like, of course, the Olympics have, but as far as like a professional women's league, it's never been on TV before. However, if you follow along with the PWHPA, that's another professional league. They were actually just on NBC or the NHL network, so they were on TV. So that, I mean, that's good for them because I just want to see women's hockey growing in general. But yeah, I'm so excited that they were able to, get that deal again with NBC. And I'm super thrilled that I don't even know if it's hit me yet. Like I'm going to be on like national TV playing hockey where anyone in the United States can watch it and just flip through the channels and see me on there. So, I mean,
Yeah, have you thought about your warm up yet? Like from the red line to the blue line and then the flows flipped back where your name's introduced and all that
oh
stuff?
yeah, no, I haven't thought about any of that yet. It doesn't
I
really hit you until you get there and you see
What
all
a
the
dream.
cameras and
I'm so excited for you. I mean, growing up wanting to be a pro hockey player myself, like this, you're in the show now. I mean, like this is so cool. Uh, I'm so excited for you. Have you been able to chat with most of your teammates about this too? Is the feeling pretty mutual around the locker room or virtual locker room right now?
Oh yes, yeah. Yeah, we're able to be in the locker rooms together, which is nice. But yeah, everyone thinks that, I mean, this is like a huge step for women's hockey, and especially during COVID, it's like, everyone's been itching to see like any type of sports being played right now. So like this is a great opportunity for women's hockey. It's great that we're being on TV, like more awareness and stuff. I know like even the pro soccer league, the NWSL, they saw like a huge spike in, viewers and people watching just because of this COVID. So it's actually like a good thing for us. And it's a huge step in the right direction. And I think it's only going to grow from here. Like you said, in 2015, that's like when the league was created. So it's only like the sixth season now. But we already added another team this year. And now I think we're going to get more viewers and more sponsorships. Like we just got Discover. That's our new biggest sponsor. Dunkin' Donuts is still a big one too. But I mean, we're getting more sponsorships. So more money's getting involved. And I just think it's only going to go up from here, which is like exciting.
Agreed. When Discover got involved, I was super stoked because I know that they're the official credit card of the NHL. So I was like, man, okay, there's people at that company that are like super in tune with hockey. And like it's great to tap into those sponsorships, but it's also like a gateway now. It's like, wait a minute. So you have an established model for sponsorships between the NWHL and the NHL. Let me learn from you, and I hope other companies start getting involved to that effect. Like I'm sure you wouldn't turn away a bottle of New Amsterdam vodka if it became the official vodka of the NWHL too,
Not.
right?
Of course not. I'm waiting for Truly's to sponsor us too, because I know Truly sponsors the
Yep,
NHL. So I'm
that
waiting
would
for
be
that one.
awesome.
That would be nice. That'd be really nice.
And I think Jagermeister is the official whatever. I always thought that was a missed opportunity not getting Yager involved, but I found out Yager doesn't really drink, so that would have been
Oh,
weird.
well,
So,
yeah, I guess so.
but I'm sure you'd jump at the sponsorship opportunity if given it,
Oh, yeah.
uh,
I'll take anything, honestly.
and I mean, there's players on your team that have played for teams like the Boston Pride. They've played
Mhm,
overseas as well in Europe and
mhm.
done that. Has that ever been a thing on your radar? Are you kind of learning from your teammates just like where you can become and make a living out of being a professional hockey player, or are you hearing from around the locker room as a rookie to yourself like, yeah, we're getting there, but it's still not fully your full-time job yet? Or what are the
Um, it-
thoughts
it's
there?
it's definitely not a full-time job yet, unfortunately. But I have thought about going overseas. I thought about it this year actually, but just with COVID and the unknown, I decided it wasn't a good idea. I know a team in Italy was talking to me like way in the beginning when COVID first hit, and that's when Italy was the worst, right? So I was like, oh,
Hmm.
obviously I'm not going to go there. So yeah, I didn't go there. I'm still thinking about it for next season. I know my roommate's looking to go to Sweden, and I think like that might not be a bad idea. As long as I go with someone that would make me feel more comfortable, I don't want to go overseas by myself. But, knowing her, that would be nice to go. And they get paid more over there, and like housing is paid for it and all that. So it's kind of nice. And then I get to travel Europe on off weekends. I think it'd be a super, super cool opportunity. But I don't know yet. I'm still thinking about it. Like, still now that the NWHL is growing too, like it's exciting to see what's going to happen next year. And I know they're trying to add another team in Canada for next season. So there's just so much like opportunity coming. So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I love about it is maybe a couple years ago, like Europe was kind of the only choice. And now it's like, now I got to weigh my options, which I think also helps out the athlete. You can have more than one choice. You're not feeling like this is the only offer on the table. And I've talked to some other hockey players like Hannah Westbrook before, who was like, yeah, just be careful when they tell you like transportation's included, like what that means, because they basically gave me a bike, which was kind of hard to use in the winter.
Yeah, I have heard of that actually.
But back to your comment earlier too about how, the PWA, the professional, wait, I said that wrong. The Professional
PWHPA.
Women's Hockey's Players Association has already showcased the game on TV. And I'm seeing news come out about how clubs like the Blackhawks are becoming an affiliated club. Same with the Rangers. Toronto, exactly. So this is all very positive, exciting news. And I'm glad your opinion is like, hey, as long as women's hockey is being showcased, like that's a good thing. So I'm just kind of curious in your opinion, like, do you like what the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association is kind of doing right now with like trying to, hold out for a more established league? Or are you like, it's just an awkward question because I know that like some of those players aren't joining your league strictly because they want a better league than the NWHL, but also the NWHL is a league and it's providing a resource for people to play hockey, but maybe it's just not where you want it to be. So, within reason and whatever you can say, we are on the air. I am just curious, like your general feelings about this situation right now.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough question for sure. There's a lot behind it and stuff, but for the most part, like I agree, like in them taking the stance of trying to get more for women's hockey and like better rights and stuff, and like the NWHL is trying to do that, and they are getting closer. Each year it's getting better and better. And honestly, with I don't know if you saw the news, Danny Ryland has resigned. So she is no longer part of the staff. And
I
I think
didn't hear that.
that that happened a couple days ago. That's some big news. And I think although it was great what she did, she started this league and that was phenomenal. I think something with that, there was some roadblocks. I think with her stepping down and being not a part of the staff anymore, I think that's a huge positive. It's a positive thing for us. I think there's like next year is going to be even better. But with the PWHPA, it's why I never joined that. It's actually my roommate played in it last year, and it's tough because you have to get like invited to play those games. So it's like anyone can kind of like be a part of the PWHPA. It doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna play. So they don't practice a lot. It's kind of like if you can make the practices, you make them. And as far as like the payment, they don't get paid like we do. I'm sure, like I know they're getting sponsorships now, and maybe they're getting some stuff from there, but like they don't have an actual like salary like we do. And I mean, majority of those people are like Olympians, like they're the top
Yeah.
athletes. So for me, like it's like I'm gonna work my butt off to play against, with Kendall Coyne and Hillary Knight, which totally so cool. That'd be awesome to play with them. But to like, I have a chance of not even getting invited to the camp to play in these like dream gap tours, they call them, and play in those games. It's kind of like, well, what's the point of that? Why am I gonna? And I'm not making money. I'm not making a salary doing it. So it's just kind of like, what's the point of that? That's my thought on it. I just wish there's a way we can join together. like I understand why they're upset with the league and stuff, but like we're getting better, like we're trying and we're taking steps in the right direction. So I hope that soon we can just come together and work together. And like if they joined this league, think about how many more teams we could have, and this it could just be way bigger. And hopefully one day it gets there.
I agree. I if I can make an another comparison, are you familiar with the Hockey Diversity Alliance?
Um, can you explain more?
Yeah, the Hockey Diversity Alliance was a coalition established mainly by NHL players to try to combat that there wasn't enough being done by the NHL to combat things like racism, but just in general, like the idea of diversity and inclusion in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
And it was founded by members like Evander Kane, and it has done one, and Matt Dumba, and there's a long list of players. And another kind of advisory board member is Rico Phillips, who is a past Willie O'Ree NHL award winner and the director of cultural diversity and inclusion for the Ontario Hockey League. The reason I bring this up is because that's an organization that totally deserves to exist, and it runs independently from the NHL. But at its beginning, they were connected, they were affiliated together, but they weren't seeing enough being done out of the NHL to feel like they felt comfortable keeping their partnership. So they are no longer affiliated, but they're still an organization because they're still trying to do the right thing. And I love that the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association, it's really a players association. So yes, they're not getting paid. You kind of practice in rinks that are established. And some of these players, like you're saying, are just very, very good, that they're able to hold out for something maybe a little bit more substantial. And I agree with their stance for a better league, but I'm also incredibly encouraged by what the NWHL has done year after year after year. And I think like they're doing a really good job. So I would like to your point of like coming together, I would really like to see something out of the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association become like the Players Association for the NWHL, and then be like this awesome league full of talented people. And I respect that what they're trying to do about getting like better pay or better rights and for the players, like that's what a players association does. And I just think that if the NWHL continues on the track record that they're on, the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association is going to be like, yeah, this is in the direction we want, the things that we want, and we want to, get together again. I think that would be amazing.
Oh, I do too. And I'm not trying to talk trash about the PWHPA.
I know you're not, for sure.
I personally, and I don't know all the whole backstory, and I don't know what's going on in the background with the league. And like I said, I really think Danny Ryland she had something to do with it. I think because she was like the creator and the commissioner, for 5 years. So with her being gone, I think maybe that's going to help. That's what I've heard through the grapevine. So we'll see. But I just don't understand. Like these games don't really mean anything either. You play like maybe 4 games. Like they just get together for like 4 little showcases. That's what they've done in the past. And it's like, for one, like I said, you have to get invited to it. So who knows if I would even get invited. And then it's like the games don't necessarily mean anything. Like it's not like where I'm in a league, they're not. So it's like, what am I playing for? I don't know. I don't understand. I just don't get it. So yeah, I'd rather get paid and get a salary, and that's why I'm here. So, and like I said, it's getting better and better every year, and I hope they give us a chance and things go in the right direction.
And like Toronto 6 expansion team also in the semifinals.
Yeah.
Like it can happen. Like I know a lot of the players on that team came from the Players Association too. And it's just interesting. Like I really do believe that how the Vegas Golden Knights were an expansion team that went to the Cup finals. You have this expansion team that's going to the semifinals right now. It's like guys, there's talent out there. Like if we add teams and we fill it with players, like those teams do well. Like we're going to compete. So I'm super encouraged too. I mean, is there, can you take a step back for us if you don't mind, and kind of try to help explain to maybe some of our women listeners out there that are like looking to go pro in hockey, like any advice or tips on how to go about promoting yourself or raising awareness over yourself, or what that process is like being scouted or asked to come play for a team or something like that?
Yeah, I think making a highlight video would be like the biggest thing, I would say. That's what I had done, and it helped me a lot. So I think my last year I transferred to D3. I went all over the places, but I went to 3 different colleges. You can only transfer D1 to D1 one time. So my third school had to be D3. And I think like just playing D3, I probably didn't get as many looks from the coaches here. Not saying D3 is bad or anything, but they're going to pick the D1 people first. And so I think once I made that highlight video, I got and sent those out to the coaches, because you can email coaches. I got like a ton of responses back. I had a ton of interest. And so then I was able to kind of choose which team I wanted to go to. So yeah, I just recommend making a highlight video, emailing the coaches, and, see if they're interested and go from there.
That's sweet. And I know that there's some organizations out there that are trying to help with the scouting for women in hockey too. So I'm glad to see that that's growing as well. Did you ever need to involve an agent for yourself, or have you felt pretty comfortable handling things yourselves or within your family? Or
yeah, I've felt pretty comfortable handling it with myself and the family. I don't think anyone really has agents here in this league yet. It's not big enough yet, but maybe one day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you need to get those signing bonuses with like some, I don't know, some cool stuff attached to it and stuff too. But I just think it's really exciting for anyone to sign that pro contract, no matter the dollar amount. Of course it matters, but just it's a validation as well. And I think that's something that overall the NWHL is providing, is like, you are good enough to be a pro hockey player, like for sure. And so I know you haven't been able to be in the NWHL too long, but you're getting back into it. But what's been the experience transitioning from D3 college to pro level?
So the biggest thing for me, especially my last year playing at that D3 level, which I did play D1 the first 3 years. So I've played against the Wisconsins and Minnesotas. So I played at like the high level Division 1 games. So I know what that's like. But having played D3 my last season, the pace is slower and the game's a little bit slower. Not as much skill and talent there. So I was kind of maybe used to that. So going to that first game, it was definitely, I just got kind of thrown into it. We didn't have any games, so we just were practicing, right? So it was like, all right, go in the fire. Like, I started both games that I played in, and it was like a lot faster. And the biggest thing for me is that, you don't have as much, time and space. So like you really figure out what you're going to do with the puck before you get it. So that's the biggest thing that I noticed, is not having as much time and space with the puck and being able to kind of dominate like I was used to in the past, being able to just kind of carry the puck and dominate. So I realized quick that that's not going to happen here, which is okay. I just kind of learned that quick. And so, yeah, it's kind of nice that we had this like break, because now I've had a chance for me personally, to work on that. And I've had a month now to just really work on that and looking up to see where my options are and, make plays quicker. So it's kind of nice. I got like a little taste of it. And now I'm ready to come back and, be even better. So
that's awesome. I love that competitive spirit in you right now. And that, I mean, Nicole's no slouch. She's basically been the leading scorer on all the teams that she's played on. So we're talking about someone who's getting used to the league right now, but it'll probably be taking over in a couple years. It's awesome just to see your journey through, the different teams you've been on and the impact you've made there. I'm kind of interested too in your coach, because I know that coaches can be a really big positive impact on you as well. And we're talking about growing the game and breaking down barriers. And your coach was an enforcer in the NHL, and, now is showing like, yeah, well, enforcers aren't just people that beat people up. Like, we know the game as well. And so what's it like learning from your coach, and what's that experience been like for you?
Honestly, so far it's been like amazing. I honestly think he's the best coach I've ever had throughout my entire career, and I've only known him for like a couple months, and I've only had a few practices and
That's
2
pretty
games with
cool.
him. And
Colton
I could
Orr,
already
right?
tell. Colton Orr, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I absolutely love him. Like, you'd think he'd be this really big, intimidating guy since he was such a huge enforcer in the NHL, but he's actually such a nice guy and so kind-hearted and really caring. He really cares a lot about us, and he wants us, to get better. So, yeah, he just cares so much about us, and it's so nice having him as a coach because you know, he can help you in any way. And I don't feel like, like in the past, I've had coaches that are pretty like intimidating and scary and like you're afraid to ask him questions, but not him. I can ask him anything and he would be willing to help and go over video, do anything you want, and he'll do it for you. So it's been nice being with him and just knowing how much he cares about us. And even throughout the tournament when, you know, COVID came in and our players were dropping down like flies one by one each day. Like he had our backs that whole time during that whole process and was cared about our safety first. And it's just, I don't know, he's just a great guy. So I'm so glad to have him as a coach. And yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we did you feel like the whole season was like, we heard rumors that maybe the reason why the season got put on hold was a little bit because like you went into a bubble, but then there was the ability to add extra players, and those extra players came in without needing to quarantine, and that might have been the reason why the season got shut down, because it just screwed things up. Is there any insight there into the situation as to why you think it stopped?
Yeah, I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say. But I guess I could say I definitely it wasn't the people who came in, which there was rules and set beforehand, like strict
Okay,
protocols, and we weren't allowed to add anybody in. That was not part of the plan.
gotcha.
But once teams were losing so many players, like we wouldn't have been able to play our game because we had so many people that had COVID. I was the first one to test positive, unfortunately, so
Ugh.
I only got 2 games in and I was out. But yeah, we wouldn't have had enough people, and I think they kind of just wanted to continue,
Hmm.
and trying to get to those NBC games. So they were trying to do anything they could. So they brought people in, and yeah, they tested when they got here, but yeah, they didn't have to quarantine. So I don't know how much I'm supposed to say on that topic, but
It's okay. I think what I was getting at is like, this is the awkwardness back to even the Players Association, where like there's definitely this incentive to move towards getting those games on NBCSN to grow the sport. And I can see how people could say the ends justify the means. Like, as long as we can get to those games, it'll be a bigger impact for our sport than any fallout of what could happen from COVID. Like, I can buy that argument, even though I don't agree with it, because I believe health and safety is number one. But I can see how that pressure is there right now, because even at the NHL level during COVID, the NHL had to take out a $1 billion loan to make this season happen. So I can see how, and we're talking about an established league with a television deal. So I can see how the NWHL is trying to do what they can, and also maybe even answer to a lot of the sponsorships prior to the season starting that they had. Like, it's a financial thing that gets in the way of
yeah.
personal health and safety, which is awkward.
Yeah, I think they could have done a better job with the whole situation. Um, it was kind of obvious that it was pretty unsafe to play at this point, and that's why I said like before, Colton was like on our side the whole time, which is kind of why, when we forfeited that game, or that was the reason why we didn't feel it was safe to play that game. It clearly wasn't. We
Mm.
had the next day it came back, we had like 8, 9 more people that tested positive. So it was pretty obvious it wasn't safe to play that game. And I know we made the right call on backing out. And yeah, we were kind of out of the tournament once we forfeited that game. So, but we thought, the safety's first, especially with COVID. It's not just like some flu, and
Right.
there's still so many uncertainties, and COVID's like a serious thing. And I understand, that NBC was important to get to, and the sponsorships. Totally get all that, and you want to get the league, you want to keep going, and I just think safety came first, and that's why our team, we decided safety was first, and then of course it got shut down after that. So, I'm just glad that they figured it out and that we're still in the tournament, that we're back in. So
Yeah. Yeah. You
I'm
guys
glad
are.
they didn't just kick us out.
Oh, totally. And I mean, I love how the Connecticut Whale as a franchise have been to the semifinals like every year, except for one. So they're doing something right, and I bet it feels great to be a part of that.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I
and
hope we can win it this year. Be the
oh
first,
my gosh,
first time
dude.
Connecticut wins. Oh, it'd be so exciting.
I mean, I'm wearing a Whalers jersey. I know Connecticut needs something to be excited about from hockey wise, but yeah, obviously I'm a big fan of the Connecticut Whale now after talking to you, and want to see, even though I'm from Toronto, I gotta cheer for who I know, and we've got
Yes.
some Chicago pride too, so that's a good
Yeah.
enough reason for me. Um, but we've got a couple minutes here left. I always want to make sure that despite what I might be interested in from you, I'm sure there's stuff that you've got that is very interesting to you that maybe you'd like to tell us about in your life related to hockey or other things. Because this is an opportunity to tell our listeners what you're about, what you'd like to see from hockey, or just what you'd like to see, personally out of your life right now. So the mic is yours. I'm just kind of curious if there's anything you'd like to say on women's hockey or to yourself just personally.
Yeah. So, like, for one, I'm just glad that women's hockey is continuing to grow and grow each year. And like I said, now that we've got on TV this year, that's like, huge, huge step in the right direction. And just in general, right now in society, like women in general are being more like they're,
Mm,
empowered, and we're just growing, like more women's sports is becoming more of a thing. And especially hockey, it's just a great opportunity. And I think, in my career, I don't think it's going to get to where I hope it gets one day. But I think in the future, this could really be like something big. And it's exciting to see the little girls that I coach. And even today, like I was skating, I was doing a private lesson with like one of the skills coaches for the Rangers actually. And there was a 5-year-old girl out there, and she was just so happy to see me. And she's like, I watched the Whale, and
mm.
it's so cool to have like little, girls like looking up to you and realizing that like you're their role model. And like, we're playing the game for them right now, because like I said, we're not making a living off of this, we're not making a whole lot of money, but like we're doing it for them, so that one day, you know they can make a living out of this. And realizing that there is something for them, because when I grew up, like I started playing boys hockey for like the first 6-7 years of my career. Like there was no
Mm.
women's hockey, so it's cool to see that there's so many more girls teams now. Like you don't have to play men with the guys anymore. And it's so cool to see it growing. And I hope that just one day those girls can make a living out of it. And for me too, personally, if I'm not playing, I don't know how much longer I'm going to play, but I want to stick around and be able to help those girls. So I really, really enjoy coaching, and I plan on making my own company, and just like a skills development coach, and helping girls like get to that next level, and get to play Division 1 hockey and go on and play pro. So if I can be a part of that and help them, like that would be super, super cool. So that's kind of my plan and what I want to do with my life in hockey. Like I just love the game and I want to stay involved as long as I can. So.
Wow, that's great, Nicole. I mean, sounds like you're on that path right now. I've been really impressed talking to you. I know that we didn't have a lot of time today, but it just goes to show that there's a lot of work to be done, but also a lot to celebrate. And I think both those things are really great. I love to keep in touch and just see how your advocacy goes. I know that it's hard once you're in the game to ever feel like you are completely going to be not in the game the rest of your life. I know that's what it's like for me. And I can tell you from trying to figure out my voice or influence or way about this, the hockey community is pretty welcoming. I think that there's a lot of inclusivity in it, but I am very, very, very encouraged to see that more even NHL clubs are hiring women into important positions to help with this effort that you're speaking about. And I'm also just very encouraged by the just growing amount of staff involved with power skating and skills development that are popping up all over the country as a result of you playing hockey, as a result of the earliest people playing hockey. So your legacy will be felt. I'm definitely confident about that, and I'm super excited to see what it is, because it sounds like it's going to be pretty great. So
yeah, I'm excited too. I hope so.
well, thank you, I mean, so much for coming on. Why don't you tell our listeners how we can watch you on TV for your pro debut?
Oh, well, you can tune in on NBC Sports Network. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central. And then I think it's 6 p.m. your time, Mountain Time,
Yeah.
right? Yes. Yeah.
And that's on March 26th and
Oh, yeah.
27th.
Sorry. Yeah.
Right?
That's next Friday is a semifinal game. And then they play, the two teams play right before us. So if you want to catch that game too, but definitely tune in for our game against Minnesota. And then hopefully we make it to the final game Saturday. I believe it's at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Awesome.
So,
Well,
yeah, tune in.
tune those DVRs now, and I'll be cheering. And just thank you from your club and pod and from our podcast. I really appreciate you making some time and helping us out. And go Whale, can't wait.
Go Whale. Hopefully I can come back on here after we won and we could talk about that. That'd be super
Yeah,
cool.
wouldn't that be super cool? Get Wes on here.
Oh yeah, definitely get Wes on here.
Awesome. Well, Nicole, good luck with your videotape scouting session. I hope it proves valuable. You find out, lower blocker side's the weak spot on your upcoming game or whatever. And we'll be cheering for you. So thanks so much and good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye. Oh, I like your jersey. I just noticed that. Look at that.
Thank you. I mean,
that is cool.
I wasn't sure if I should try wearing this one or, from the whale logo, it looks like the Pucky the whale smiling has like a hockey stick there.
Yeah.
And it totally reminds me of like the old Canucks logo with the stick and rink type situation too.
I know exactly. Yeah, it actually is a stick.
Yeah, nice. I love what's coming out of Connecticut logo wise. Like this Hartford Whalers one is probably my favorite one of that they've ever made. The negative space is awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. I liked when they just wore the retros. Actually, that was cool.